This is Sybert signing into Red Alert Remastered on the map Arena Valley Extreme. And I hope you're ready for some confusion because this is going to be all AVA matches. In the north, playing the yellow allies, this is BikeRushOwnz. And in the south, playing the cyan allies, this is Ronaldo R9. And my guess is that over the course of these games that we're going to be taking a look at, they're going to be flip-flopping colors because these are just quick match games, which means one is yellow, one is blue, and there will probably be very little consistency between that. Not a big fan of scouting patterns, Bike Rush is, apparently. I mean, that is not much of a scouting pattern compared to what Ronaldo R9 has going for him. But this is a big chunk of infantry all headed in the same direction. Arena Valley Extreme is a big map. It takes a long time to cross. So by the time that these are spotted and they get into Ronaldo's base, he will probably have an answer ready and waiting for them. He's about to get sight of them in a couple of moments here. But he is spreading out a lot of scouts all over the map. Really good scouting coverage. A couple of groups of infantry at various crossings just so that you keep an eye on them in a semi-permanent fashion. And BikeRushOwnz gets a big group of riflemen, and he is hoping to get lucky here. He is not necessarily going to end the game, and certainly now that he has been spotted, almost certainly he will not end the game. But that's one of those things that you can do where you send out a group of infantry, and if you get lucky, they make it through undetected. You get on top of an MCV, a refinery, a war factory, something, and you are able to gun it down. Medium tanks out for Ronaldo. More harvesters out for Bike Rush. It is big-time eco mode for Bike Rush, but not in terms of refineries. We do see refineries coming in for Ronaldo, but he has base crawled very close to that first field and base crawled very close to the second field. Scouting rifles coming in. There's a second group of riflemen also heading in. Maybe they get lucky and they're able to knock down this refinery. The ore truck is going to be going for the crush. He misses almost every single rifleman and the refinery goes down. Won't get much more than that, but this does open up an opportunity in the middle of the map for Bike Rush to move through into position, and that refinery, that entire ore field is now a little bit off limits here, and Ronaldo will be able to rebuild that, but he does have more trouble brewing as a couple of riflemen sneak past the defenses, and they do manage to do some damage just to the ore trucks, not actually to the refinery. And BikeRushOwnz now has units crossing the map every which way. Second MCV is here for BikeRushOwnz. Ronaldo R9, I think, is a little bit slower in that respect. I don't think he has his second MCV out just yet, but he does have plenty of medium tanks, and it is going to be medium tank v medium tank. It is not light tank spam as we have seen in yesteryear, although I would be surprised if we see zero light tank spam over the course of these games. Once again, BikeRushOwnz, he's going to try and jump on this refinery. This isn't a huge number of tanks, so if he gets this refinery, he really hasn't committed all that much to it. I love the addition of a couple of riflemen. It makes the defense that much harder for Ronaldo, and Ronaldo will not hold the defense in terms of saving that refinery. He will, of course, expel these tanks and stop them from doing any more damage, but once again, Bike Rush got what he wanted. Double MCV, 2 ore fields under his control, and he kills the second refinery again. That refinery on that second field, and Ronaldo R9 is hurting in that respect. He's still doing okay because he has a good number of ore trucks, and he has been harvesting from a little bit further away, so he's still got quite short drive times to this ore refinery. That drive time is so important, and it is going to be a little bit of offense, defense. We're playing both sides of the cards here for both players. BikeRushOwnz is going to be able to save that ore truck. He will be able to overwhelm those tanks, but you can pretty much say the same thing on the other side of the map. BikeRushOwnz might just gun it for the MCV. He sees no second MCV. He will commit to the refinery. He sees not many refineries out on the field, and the result is he's going to get himself one, or at least he is going to try. 5 tanks still survive. survive. They are completely surrounded. There is no going home here. There is no rescue mission that can save these guys, and 2 tanks survive to get the kill on the refinery, but none make it out alive, of course. BikeRushOwnz chipping away at those refineries, and it is a slow, steady buildup on the north side of the map, an expansion down to a 3rd field. 5K in the bank, nearly 6 in his pockets as he pumps out tank after tank and sends them onto the other side of the map. This is about tactics. This is not about fancy micro. This is not about pulling out some build you've never seen before. This is exactly about hit after hit, a couple of units here and there. It is not about something else. The group of riflemen at the beginning, the distraction to one side of the base while the riflemen punch in on the other side, get that first refinery kill. The tanks doing the same thing a couple of minutes later, knocking down those refineries. Ronaldo has taken every hit, and he is still going to be able to bring it back. But I feel like time is running out. BikeRushOwnz has grown to 3 fields quite comfortably. He has a good number of refineries, a good number of harvesters as well, and we'll see if Ronaldo is able to counterattack and do that critical damage. BikeRushOwnz is committing a lot to the attack, so this might actually just be about who can kill the other one's buildings faster. Ronaldo has been absorbing those attacks, killing smaller groups of tanks with larger, and overall, Ronaldo has been growing those tank numbers more than BikeRush. It's going to be an attack on both sides of the map. BikeRush is committing into the attack, but so is Ronaldo. It's going to be a war factory down for a refinery. Ronaldo is going to have to split up his tanks to cover all forces, but it won't be enough to stop them from killing that MCV, and that will be the end of the game. BikeRushOwnz comes through with the base race, and once that MCV goes down, there isn't much for Ronaldo to do, but that will do it for game number 1. Let's jump into game number 2, which is on Tournament or Rift. Ronaldo is the yellow this time. BikeRush is the blue. BikeRush not moving his MCV at all. Instead, Ronaldo is the one who repositions, not quite into this little canyon area, but he does go a little bit further south, and I guess he likes that position a little bit better. BikeRushOwnz kind of equivalent would be like there or something, and he just doesn't go for it. It is going to be airfield. It is going to be infantry. It is going to be that barracks right away from both players. This time, BikeRushOwnz is going to be pushing out a decent number of riflemen. Which, by the way, if you followed the last game that I cast, or the last video, remaster video that I cast, it was Ronaldo versus Sybert, a Soviets versus Allies match. In that one, we saw Sybert a little bit lower ranked on the ladder than Ronaldo, and in this case, BikeRushOwnz and Ronaldo, they are both typically top 3 on the ladder. Maybe top 5, but they're usually up there with the best of the best. And we're seeing that in a little bit more of an equal playing field in that game number 1. I guess we'll see, maybe game number 2 is going to be a complete smash in the other direction. Ronaldo, very good map coverage in terms of his scouting. BikeRushOwnz, not so much great map coverage, but he is getting enough information, and he has all of these infantry in the north that he can send out and get a better scout if he needs it. A little bit of a base crawl down to the southern field. Ronaldo can do that a lot easier because he moved that MCV, whereas BikeRushOwnz, he has to exist on this one field. Right now, he's got those 3 trucks working for him, but when he wants to go for the expansion, it's probably just going to be faster to go for the MCV build. If this game goes on long enough, he will be wanting that service depot anyways. He will want to play that multi-MCV style, but this is not a map that has a ton of cash in the same way that Arena Valley Extreme does. You have to play with a little bit of a more modest income. There is still plenty of cash to be found, but you do have kind of this 3-field setup, and once you get to this natural expansion in the north or in the south, it's a pretty short walk to your 3rd field. But I honestly don't know that we'll see players take a 3rd field on this map. You do sometimes see it. And we are back to the light tank spam, it's looking like. But yeah, you sometimes see players go for a 3rd field. It's it's not super common. A lot of times these games in the remaster end quite quickly. We're not really talking about big 20-minute macro games. Yes, I have seen some team games, you know, some 6 or 8 player team games that do last a decent amount of time, that do maybe go towards that 20-minute mark. But most of the time, remaster games, they're pretty short, they're pretty chaotic. It's somewhere in the 5-minute mark. Light tanks are tussling back and forth on both sides, and BikeRushOwnz is just going to run for it. He is going to be stopping for a little bit of a pit break to clean up this refinery. Killing off one refinery would certainly be nice, but that's not going to be the end of the world for Ronaldo. Depending on how many tanks survive, how many tanks commit into this attack, Pillbox does get deployed, and Ronaldo, his defense is going to have to be a little bit tighter. He needs to stop the bleeding as more and more reinforcements from BikeRush show up. It's going to be mass tanks on both sides. The Pillboxes are going to help hold the line, but the refineries in the south will go down, and BikeRush still has 5 tanks that have survived, that are moving past, that are going for that MCV. No, he cuts past the MCV, and maybe he's just going to be going for another refinery in the north, going for the economic win over his opponent rather than shutting down that MCV. It's a slow parade push across the map. BikeRushOwnz has very low health tanks in general, and Ronaldo has very good numbers if he could just catch up with the tanks of BikeRushOwnz. I don't think BikeRushOwnz wants to fight tank to tank. He does have a couple of riflemen in here, which can pepper in that additional damage, but the pillboxes and the reinforcements from Ronaldo, I think, make this a losing fight for BikeRush. BikeRush is going to commit into the north. He is going to be going for that refinery. He has to keep moving to keep his tanks alive, and it looks like he will commit into the attack on the refinery, and will he actually get it? It's very low on health, but he has so few tanks left, and Ronaldo will lose that refinery. 2 tanks survive, and that's the end of the economy for Ronaldo. He does rebuild that refinery just in time, but he has to counterattack and do some damage. BikeRushOwnz committed a lot to that attack, and he has dried up his field. Actually, BikeRushOwnz, I didn't realize he had not expanded at all. He has spent everything for that attack. He has committed so much to the offense, and Ronaldo didn't die. Ronaldo still has so many tanks left over, and BikeRushOwnz is long-distance harvesting if he gets this MCV. When Ronaldo has so much defense, if BikeRush gets that MCV, that is going to be ridiculous. And okay, that's the end of the game. I think that's BikeRush taking an L there. Ronaldo, I think, just needed to counterattack, and he basically wins the game. Maybe Ronaldo thought he was dead. If BikeRush expands, then Ronaldo is dead. But in this case, Ronaldo had so many more tanks. BikeRushOwnz got the kills on the refinery, but they really weren't fast enough that he was able to completely shut down Ronaldo. But that'll do it for game number 2. Let's jump into game number 3. And we're now on bullseye for game number 3. BikeRush is in the yellow, Ronaldo is in the blue. And Ronaldo repositioned his MCV, I think, just a smidge once again. And BikeRushOwnz repositioned it, but directly south. I think he just walked a couple of feet and then went for that MCV position. Very nice base crawl from both players. It's a little bit shorter for Ronaldo, so he doesn't need that second power plant to get down to that ore field. He's able to do it with a power plant and a barracks, which I think is exactly what you want, because you want the power plant and the barracks regardless. You need both of those things. And then the refinery right on the field is very nice after that. And of course, we've seen in the past, Ronaldo will base crawl up to the north, and then he'll have that 2-field expansion. I don't know, 2-field economy. You end up getting so many harvesters and they trade places so quickly that it's not really like having 2-field economy, but you do have 2 sets of refineries to work with there. BikeRushOwnz, on the other hand, he's going to have a little bit of a shorter walk to his second field, but we'll see if the map even goes that long, if the game even lasts that long. Maybe BikeRush will only need 1 field, and Ronaldo won't need to base crawl that extra distance either. Lots of infantry right from the beginning. BikeRushOwnz, pretty decent scouting. Ronaldo, pretty decent scouting as well. They both got decent vision around the map, and if you can get that vision deep in the early parts of the game, that's one of those things that I'm always so terrible at. I either get out my main build quickly and I have no scouting at all. Or I can do a decent job of scouting, but my main build suffers so much. I just lack so much vision. That power plant goes down. He's got a second power plant, so he should be fine. And the MCV is just going to get jumped on. Bike, you gonna do anything about this? He will chip away at those riflemen. They will be able to reposition a little bit closer, and they're just gonna keep up that damage, keep peppering that MCV. BikeRushOwnz should be able to save it? Question mark? He should. Okay, Ronaldo has stopped attacking the MCV, so he's definitely safe now. If Ronaldo had been able to bring a second group of riflemen in, he could have gone for that MCV without too much trouble. And Ronaldo trying to trade against the riflemen, hoping maybe he can take down Bike's riflemen, but it doesn't land there. BikeRushOwnz does defend his MCV. He does have to draft a pillbox to do it, and he does manage to not waste all of his cash on repairs. He still has 2.5k in the bank, so he can get a couple more harvesters out, get a couple more tanks out, and it's going to be a pillbox down on the front line to keep this push moving, or keep this defense alive. He doesn't have a lot of tanks out here, so you're really hoping that the pillbox can do it. It's going to be a couple of riflemen committed into the attack. There is still a refinery out on the field, so Ronaldo doesn't need to save this refinery, but it would be nice to have 2 refineries on the field instead of just 1, and Bike is going to get it. A couple of infantry committed into the attack here, and they do manage to land the kill. On the other side of the map, it's going to be Ronaldo committing into the kill on the MCV, and he's going to be able to get it despite the fact that there are 3 pillboxes here. There is not much for defense from Bike, and he really needs to get another refinery kill now, because Ronaldo is going to be working with as many fields as he likes, and BikeRushOwnz never got out the service depot, I shouldn't think. He's going to have 1 war factory, 2 refineries for the rest of the game. He can build lots of ore trucks, he can long-distance mine, but he is not going to be able to match that 2-field potential that Ronaldo has. I don't think Ronaldo lost any ore trucks, so he should still be at maximum ore truck capacity, and I'm not sure where that ore truck was going. These ore trucks, I'm not sure if that's bad pathing. Okay, that guy needed a couple of more scoops of ore to fill up. All right, Ronaldo is not being hamstrung by his own ore trucks here, and it is going to be medium tanks and ore trucks till the day you die for BikeRush. Ronaldo chips away at that MCV with those riflemen early on, and then he manages to get the kill with the medium tanks a little bit later, and there's going to be the kill on the refinery. So fortunately for Ronaldo, he does have a backup economy, and he does have 2 war factories, so he will outproduce BikeRush if BikeRush cannot find some almost miracle way to sneak through the defense of Ronaldo and get the kill on that critical infrastructure. If he gets this refinery, it feels like it's almost a full reset on the game, and they might as well be wearing the same pair of pants, but I don't think Ronaldo is going to let that happen. Decent number of medium tanks. BikeRushOwnz is creating a little bit of space for himself. He's going to be taking a little bit of chip damage from those pillboxes. It's not going to be the end of the world for these mediums. The medium tanks of Ronaldo will be the end of the world for those mediums, and BikeRushOwnz trying to do the double team attack. He's hitting in the east and in the west, and he's not going to get the refinery, it seems like, but I do love the attempt there from BikeRush. Ronaldo, it seems like, is just macroing too well. His defense is too tight, and he is too on top of it, but honestly, BikeRushOwnz got a decent amount of health off of this refinery, and that would be pretty crippling if Bike commits into this attack. It forces not the MCV cell, it forces the second and third war factory cell there from Ronaldo, and Ronaldo boxing out Bike's medium tanks there pretty perfectly, and he says, go ahead and kill it. You just freed up some space in my base. Ronaldo down to 1 war factory, 1 refinery, which I guess is technically worse than BikeRush, but BikeRush has such a long distance to drive to harvest anything that his double refinery isn't really needed. Couple of tanks still here from BikeRush. No giving up for Bike. He lost that MCV. He got completely jumped on by that attack from Ronaldo, but in this case, Ronaldo is the one playing on the maximum side of defense, and he has been playing defense for most of this game now. As we stretch past the 6.5 minute mark, Ronaldo has been on the back foot trying to answer what Bike has been doing for most of the game. Bike just trying to spin chaos, sending tanks sort of everywhere. Is he going to camp out and he's going to block the refinery? 2 tanks, 3 tanks. Ronaldo's defense, which has so many more units, is failing to deal with the forces of Bike. And he might get this refinery. I cannot believe that Bike is getting this refinery. 3 tanks survive, and a 4th one comes in. Reinforcements are arriving for BikeRushOwnz, and Ronaldo is kind of falling apart. He has so little cash because his refineries just don't stay online long enough. I thought this refinery was going to be his saving grace, but it was just another target for BikeRush to knock down. And at this point, Ronaldo might just need to commit in a lot of his forces to the other side of the map. He's committed a couple of tanks in here. We'll see if he's able to get that critical damage that he needs. BikeRush has so little defense back at home. I think Ronaldo just goes for the critical infrastructure. Don't even fight the tanks. Just go for the buildings. Go for the kills that really matter. He's going to be going for the power plants, going to knock BikeRush off his feet and shut him down. Another refinery gets established, but this is just a full-on base race, but it shouldn't be. BikeRushOwnz is turning this into a base race, and it feels like this shouldn't be able to happen because Ronaldo has so many more units, but 4 medium tanks can kill an MCV, 3 medium tanks still running around, and Ronaldo, if he just had a straight-up fight tank to tank, he would win. But BikeRushOwnz is committing in tanks everywhere, creating chaos, creating space for his forces, and he's actually able to do damage. Ronaldo just needs to kill 3 buildings. Actually, the pillboxes might keep you in the game, so he might have to kill more buildings than that. And BikeRushOwnz, he has just had so much cash in this game because he has such limited production. And now the wave comes. The tide of blue is going to arrive, and that is where I think BikeRush will not be able to stand up. He's going to be able to jump on a couple of these tanks. Chipping away at the tank numbers overall is definitely a good way to start this out, but Ronaldo has had the tank number advantage for so long in this game. It's finally being relevant, and there is the GG as Ronaldo will take the win here on Bullseye in game number 3. And that will take us to a path beyond for game number 3. Ronaldo is yellow this time. And this is one of those maps that I feel like almost the awkwardness of the map can decide the game as much as units and strategy do. If you're trying to go for some kind of counterattack, this map has so many awkward areas and irregular paths to your opponent's base that you can lose from like a kind of forced base race scenario. It is just not a very standard map, not a very typical map. It feels like it's just kind of a weirdo map, and the oddness of it creates some bizarre situations. I feel like players used to go for their first refinery on the gems, and that is not the case here. Both of these guys going for just the standard ore fields, but it does look like they're picking up some of the gems, manually harvesting the gems first because they are nice and close. I will be interested if they go for the backdoor gems second, with a second refinery there in that pocket spot. This is one of those maps where you have these little pockets of gems, various places on the map that you can harvest. And also, due to the like not really these maps are all like almost symmetrical. I guess Bullseye is pretty close to symmetrical, but a lot of these maps are just like almost symmetrical without being symmetrical. So for example, your MCV position here, it's a little bit further south, and then you've got these 2 fields that are quite close to each other. Meanwhile, in the north, the fields are much further away from each other, but I think your MCV is a little bit more centrally placed, and that's kind of how things balance out. BikeRushOwnz always going on the offense, always trying to be the aggressive one who gets a sneaky attack in. And no, it's not going to be a refinery back at the gems. It is just going to be a couple of harvesters sent back there, a couple of ore trucks manually sent to pick those up rather than a refinery back there. So the refinery stays on the fields with the actual ore nodes, and the ore trucks are just sent backwards a little bit to grab that ore. Or grab those gems, rather. A couple of riflemen, not going to be enough. You'll need the light tank for the crush. This light tank taking a decent amount of damage, but he's crushed enough that he should be fine. And BikeRushOwnz might actually win that fight, but no, he doesn't. I was going to say it wouldn't matter because the reinforcements will be able to save that refinery without too much trouble. And that is a long way to drive for some gems for that ore truck. But Ronaldo does manage to escape with it. And both players going for that light tank spam on this map. We've seen that across both sets of games. Ronaldo, much happier to play the defense whack-a-mole game, batting away at attacks and preserving his units until he's reached a critical mass and he's able to cross the map and win the game. Whereas Samero, BikeRushOwnz, they were often trying to play it a bit more aggressive, trying to get the kills on the other side of the map. And the result is the kills didn't happen fast enough. When you kill that infrastructure, sometimes that's the game winner. But when you don't kill it fast enough, you just lose so many tanks traded out for not enough infrastructure. And the result is Ronaldo just keeps building tanks back at home. He's whacking away these attacks left and right. And then 5 minutes in, he has a critical mass of tanks that almost cannot be beat. Ore truck going to take a bit of damage here in the north. Ronaldo doesn't even really respond to save it. 2 light tanks, they're at least going to get really good scouting. BikeRushOwnz will have vision pretty deep into the base of Ronaldo. Ronaldo, on the other hand, has a giant blank space in the corner of his map over Bike's base. So Bike has the perfect secret advantage. He has the perfect potential element of surprise, as Ronaldo has been staying on his half of the map quite stoically, just hanging out over on the top left corner. Bike repositioning towards the middle of the map. Ronaldo with 3 refineries, and BikeRushOwnz probably with a similar number. Maybe just 2 refineries. He's happy to play this one off with 2 refineries. The ore fields are close enough to each other. And Bike's assault has begun. A couple of tanks trying to sneak in first, and it is going to be an MCV cell. BikeRushOwnz does spot that, and maybe Ronaldo snuck out a service depot, so he has the opportunity to rebuild the MCV, but I'm going to guess not. I'm going to guess that he just wanted to go for the MCV cell and a bit of an all-in. Meanwhile, on this other map, it is going to be a commitment from these tanks to get the kill on the refinery, so it will be a base race from both players. Once again, Ronaldo with the superior number of tanks, and does he have enough on both sides of the map to act as both defense and offense? It seems like the answer is yes. If it's a measure of who can kill the building faster, it seems like Ronaldo is doing that. Bike's units dwindling on the other side of the map. This barracks even proving difficult to take down as Ronaldo's defense holds strong, and Bike is going to commit more tanks to the other side of the map, but Ronaldo has killed the MCV, or it has been sold off, and that will be the GG from Bike. Ronaldo gets another win in this series. And we're going to take a quick detour to the map Canyon, which is one of these very small maps that we often see very bizarre games on. Maybe aggressive games is a better way to put it. Sometimes you do see a player base crawl into their opponent's base and go for an all-in right from the beginning. If that doesn't happen, this map tends to be pretty stalematy because you do have these pretty choked up areas of the map, and it's relatively easy to separate the map into halves, and you just kind of exist on these couple of ore fields. And there isn't a ton of ore field ore on this map because it is so small. So this game can't go on forever, but it can get stalematey fairly quickly. And it is not going to be a base crawl. It is a lot of infantry, and we saw this in game number 1. The commitment of infantry, the kind of dodge and weave nature that BikeRush sometimes has, where he tries to hit at one spot, and he's just bringing an ore truck here for the offense. He is going for the all-out attack with this ore truck, and he is hoping for the mass crush. He is going to get a decent chunk of the infantry there, and this has somewhat disrupted the front line. That's a big break for BikeRushOwnz. He gets potentially very deep into enemy territory here, and this ore truck from Ronaldo almost has to come off the line here because there is so many rifles here for for BikeRushOwnz. The pillbox will help hold the line, and that ore truck has done, I think, enough damage. I think the double pillbox can hold this, but no, maybe not. The ore truck is going to have to get back to work. It's going to be artillery to land those massive splash damage shots, and both of the pillboxes go down, but the artillery, it's all about buying time here, and Ronaldo with 2 artillery platforms here will hold the line. He also gets 1 scout pretty deep into enemy territory, and BikeRushOwnz almost breaks Ronaldo. Sub 2 minutes there, but it's just not enough. Ronaldo with a couple of scouts over here. They're going to be watching that backdoor entrance for him and keeping an eye on the units of Bike. 3 artillery. Is he going to build more artillery? Okay, I don't think so. Maybe he commits into the artillery, but you saw the splash damage there, so critical to help him break that attack quickly. Otherwise, that attack potentially does more damage. The crushes on that ore truck, if they had been a little bit worse and the pillbox timing a little bit slower, this game is over, and BikeRush's infantry horde just overwhelms Ronaldo. Even if it doesn't win the game there, he almost certainly gets the refinery. Maybe he gets the war factory as well, and that slows down Ronaldo so much that I don't think Ronaldo can counter. Okay, artillery are going to still be useful here as they shut down that ore silo, and that is actually the first time I've seen artillery be this useful. They're actually doing a really good job of stopping the base crawl. BikeRushOwnz was looking for the backdoor attack once again. Well, I guess backdoor, it's almost, this is the most forward position, but because of the nature of the cliffs, it's actually kind of the backdoor attack there. 1 artillery platform does go down, and BikeRush's attack is once again thwarted. 1 rifleman here is going to get surprised and defeated. BikeRushOwnz is going to have to deal with the medium tanks at some point. He has his own war factory. Ronaldo has done such a fantastic job of holding off every attack. He isn't out of the woods yet. He does go for a second refinery on the high ground there. And BikeRushOwnz still has this ore silo, so maybe the base crawl will re-emerge, and he will be able to put something into the base of Ronaldo. But in this case, it is not necessarily going to be that easy. 2 tanks on the front line. Bike needs something. He has his own 2 tanks to counter, and he will just sort of sell off some of these buildings here. Oh no, he goes for the war factory on the front line. He's almost trying to go for the surprise factor here, as it's 3 tanks versus 3. The pillbox comes in as well. The artillery gets brought to the forefront by Ronaldo. He is truly bringing everything here to the front line, and this almost is fine, because if the artillery platform absorbs shots, that's fine in the tank fight, and Ronaldo does get the kill on the war factory. That is a critical piece of infrastructure that he needed to knock down, but it's not the end here, because Bike still has the tank advantage. He's got the pillbox, and he might be crazy enough to try and build into the base still. As Ronaldo adds on a 3rd refinery, he just doesn't have many tanks. He has more refineries than tanks. And as another tank goes down, that statement remains true. BikeRushOwnz pushes in. He's got another tank on the front line here, and it's going to be a turret in the main base of Ronaldo. This is one of the reasons why I love this map, because when it's not a stalemate, it's just chaos, and it's action all the way from start to finish. BikeRushOwnz, he is completely harvested that corner field, so he's out of that cash. He needs to draw cash from somewhere else. That's a line of 4 pillboxes, but it's not enough to defend that refinery. At the same time, this refinery in the main base is almost certainly going to be going down, as BikeRushOwnz commits another pillbox into the attack. And I mean, he can either keep adding pillboxes to try and take down the MCV, or he can cut his losses and just sell off everything once he gets the refinery. The refinery goes down. Ronaldo is going to push into the front line, but BikeRushOwnz, you know, he's done the damage that he wanted. He can back off and just pool tanks with his reinforcements coming from the south. It's now 3 tanks versus 3 tanks, but another pillbox gets added on. A 4th tank steps on out, and BikeRushOwnz should be able to shove away this attack from Ronaldo. MCV taking damage, but it's not a ton of damage. It is still getting chipped away at, and Ronaldo doesn't seem to have an answer, so I do fear that that will be the end of Ronaldo's MCV. BikeRushOwnz potentially finding a win here with some very aggressive plays, some extremely aggressive infantry plays at the beginning of the game, but if Ronaldo holds on, the MCV goes down. Okay, so that MCV is out. Ronaldo has one refinery, one war factory. He needs to get that counter damage, but this is the reverse of what we typically have been seen in this series. BikeRushOwnz has been the one slowly building those tank numbers back at home. Ronaldo committing into the attack, losing the tanks, trying to get the critical infrastructure, and in this case, he didn't even get the MCV. He didn't get the refinery, so behind it all, BikeRushOwnz has been killing tanks and building his own tank numbers. Ronaldo is looking for one potential final push to knock this down. Selling off those structures gives BikeRush a couple of backdoor riflemen to try and sneak their way into the base, in to kill that power plant, and they don't get the kill, but they do pull another tank off of the front line. Ronaldo has good tank numbers. Can BikeRushOwnz keep the push up? Yes, because Ronaldo is distracted by those pillboxes. The GG comes out, and BikeRushOwnz puts another point on the board here in Canyon. We're going to cap off this series of games with another match on Arena Valley Extreme. Ronaldo the yellow and Bike the blue. I think Ronaldo has won more games than Bike, but Bike has put a couple of wins on the board. And, we're returning to Arena Valley Extreme. We're once again on this map for the first and the last games of this series. We'll see if things play out differently here in this last match. And if you've enjoyed these remastered games, well, go ahead and let me know what other players I should take a look at. There's 5 or 6 players on the high ranks of the ladder that I was definitely thinking about checking out some games from. But if you've got some team game suggestions, I am also open to that. Team games are where we sometimes get to see more of the variety, a few more of the units, and sometimes some wackiness with super weapons even being brought to bear. But, sometimes the team games are just more of the 1v1 tanks and riflemen kind of situation. BikeRushOwnz and Ronaldo seem quite evenly matched. Maybe Ronaldo has a bit of an edge there. He seems to be more of the Red Alert Remastered guy, and it seems like maybe he is the better player there. But BikeRushOwnz, at least gives him a run for his money. It is certainly not a one-sided stomp. BikeRushOwnz holds his own in that case, and he does have this base crawl working up. He will be able to go for an expansion to that second field quite quickly. Ronaldo, on the other hand, not moving his MCV. He's doing the same kind of thing that we've seen in other games in this position in the northern spawn there on Arena Valley Extreme. A couple of riflemen will be able to punch through. A little bit chaotic on the scouting pattern there, and look at that from Ronaldo. That is looking very precise on that scouting pattern. He has quite good vision of the map. And I mean, at the end of the day, BikeRushOwnz is also going to have pretty good vision of the map. It just looks a little bit more chaotic. That doesn't really mean anything. He's got quite good eyes everywhere. But yeah, those scouting patterns just look so premium from Ronaldo, and they look so chaotic from BikeRush. Couple of the riflemen right at the river, and BikeRushOwnz, I assume this is just for scouting. These 3 riflemen here, I mean, I think they can punch in and get sights of that MCV, which is nice to have that vision deep into enemy territory. And no, he doesn't pop that S key and go for the overwhelm on that rifleman, but he will get the scout regardless, so that's the vision that BikeRush wanted. He actually doesn't see over here at all, which is what I would really think he wanted to be able to see. You want to be able to see that war factory and kind of the middle of the map. I guess that's what this tank is here for. Ronaldo is going to try and cut this off. He might be able to body block this tank and box it out and stop it from really scouting anything. Second medium tank over here. BikeRushOwnz will commit a couple of tanks. I mean, in a mirror matchup, sometimes every unit is important enough that giving away one turns the tide in your opponent's favor. MCV will be set upon, but I think Ronaldo just has too much here, and yeah, Bike will just commit for the scout, and he will get pretty good a vision of everything that Ronaldo has. So that's kind of the piece of the puzzle that Bike was missing, was that vision. We'll see if he's really able to keep up with the macro of Ronaldo. The trouble with being the aggressive player, as we've seen in a number of these games, is when you overcommit to too many attacks, losing a kind of a net of -1 or 2 tanks every time. Doesn't matter if you only do it once or twice, but when you're doing it 5 or 6 times and then suddenly you're down 10 or 11 tanks in comparison to your opponent, that's when Ronaldo is able to counterattack on the other side of the map and also defend back at home with equal or superior numbers, and Ronaldo takes the game. And that kind of defensive macro style works so well for Ronaldo in Red Alert Remastered. BikeRushOwnz committing a decent number of infantry, a decent number of tanks across the map. He is going multi-MCV, which is much more common on this map. You've got so much cash, you've got so many potential base opportunities, and BikeRushOwnz is actually going to be starting a second base down there, a little corner expansion, a little secret hidden base, and Ronaldo has so many tanks out on the field. That is what we expect to see from Ronaldo, just overwhelming numbers, and BikeRushOwnz is hoping that his chaos style, splitting up his opponent's attention, forcing them to work in multiple sectors of the map at the same time, will be what wins him the game. Couple of tanks, literally it seems like 2 tanks are going to be able to make it through the defense, and they are going to commit deep into enemy territory. They are going to be going for that MCV. These 2 tanks going to be kissing in the nighttime as they blast each other with a couple of shots there. Ronaldo going to commit a 10, 12 tanks to the other side of the map. He's going to be going for the kill on, most likely, the MCVs, but maybe he will settle for the refineries to try and curb this base crawl from BikeRushOwnz. Masterleaf not even present in this game, but BikeRushOwnz with this secret base over here that's just powering so much of that economy. 6-7K floating in the bank. He's going to commit a lot of tanks into this attack, and maybe back home he will be able to hold the defense. If he's able to hold on to this base, if he's able to not take a huge amount of damage, then he will be in a better position than Ronaldo. There's the MCV capped for BikeRush. He does get the kill on Ronaldo's MCV, and that is exactly what he was looking to do. Ronaldo on the other side of the map, he's going to be seeing that there are 2 MCVs, at least 2 that he knows about here from BikeRush, and Ronaldo, it seems like, might be overwhelmed in the main base of BikeRush. And it's going to be at least a second wave of tanks that is needed for Ronaldo to crack open Bike's base. 1 MCV down, second MCV is being targeted. Ronaldo doesn't realize that even killing a second MCV would not win him this game, would not hamstring BikeRush, and Bike has so many refineries, he may just need a couple more war factories. He does have 5. 5 seems like enough. When you've got 6K in the bank, though, maybe you need just a couple more refineries, or war factories, excuse me, as Ronaldo, with no MCV and no way to rebuild, is just going to commit everything to the other side of the map. This is about stopping that base kill, because if Ronaldo gets the kill on this main base with enough tanks left over, he can sweep this into a 2 base kill. But BikeRushOwnz just needs to do some damage on the other side of the map while holding the line back at home. Lots of pillboxes are here, and Ronaldo has a nearly impossible task in front of them. He is going to be able to rally into the north of BikeRush's base to knock down a couple of these refineries, but will he get much more than that? That's where I'm concerned. Once the tanks start trading, that favors BikeRush so much more than Ronaldo. Every second where tanks trade is better for BikeRush. Every second that Ronaldo kills buildings is better for Ronaldo. Refineries getting targeted, Ronaldo thinking that he is moments away from victory, thinking that he has BikeRush caught dead to rights, but not realizing how far spread BikeRush is in this game. Ronaldo dominating so much of the ladder in Red Alert Remastered, so many of the games in this series, but this is the one where someone finally got it over on him, and the numbers are dwindling. BikeRush on the other side of the map has the counterattack force, and this doesn't need to win the game. It just needs to keep Ronaldo busy. It just needs to stop Ronaldo from sending more tanks across the map, because BikeRushOwnz has the breathing room now to relaunch his attack, and he's going to be committing, and he's going to be going for as much infrastructure as he can. If he gets a couple of war factories, that's nice. Ronaldo is out of cash, and BikeRushOwnz still has a decent amount in the bank. BikeRushOwnz, his counterattack is going to be very difficult for Ronaldo to stop, and maybe Ronaldo could go even on the tanks. maybe trade tank for tank, but I think BikeRushOwnz is going to be pushing past the tanks and looking to kill that infrastructure, and that is where Ronaldo will not be able to stop him. So much blue on the move on this map, and Ronaldo is going to have to face the music at some point. Tanks pushing in, Ronaldo with a wall of defense, and this is where I'm kind of surprised that BikeRushOwnz doesn't have a second group of tanks attacking from over here. Instead, everything is committed into this attack, just pure chaos with these numbers. You try and fight as many of these tanks as you can, and both sides reinforcing almost constantly, as Ronaldo has, I think, the superior numbers in this engagement, which is why, again, I'm surprised that BikeRushOwnz didn't just push past the tank attack and go for the base, which is actually what he's starting to do now. Reinforcements coming in. BikeRushOwnz has so many ore trucks, and actually he has like 12 tanks back at home, not really doing anything. Another MCV is here. Ronaldo does spot that, and I guess Ronaldo has known about that secret base in the corner for a long, long time, so he has known that BikeRushOwnz had that in his back pocket. He knew that he needed to kill more than just one base, and Ronaldo is now caught in a situation where he has to defend multiple points, and I think he just doesn't have the numbers. BikeRushOwnz hasn't actually killed all of the refineries yet. He's gotten close, but he hasn't actually killed all of the refineries yet, and BikeRushOwnz bypasses a lot of the tanks, and he just keeps the building killing up. Ronaldo, if he's able to crush this, again, I just don't see the world where Ronaldo mounts a three-pronged attack, hitting every base of BikeRush and killing the army of BikeRush. That's the part that's difficult. Ronaldo can crush some of these attacks tank for tank, but he can't do it and hit the bases of BikeRush. And that's where the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth wave of tanks from BikeRush comes into play. BikeRushOwnz keeping a significant portion of Ronaldo's army busy, and BikeRushOwnz just has the superior numbers now. Ronaldo might be able to get a kill on this base over here if he commits everything to it, but that is not the end-all, be-all for Bike. Ronaldo will, I guess, fight it out in the middle of the map. But Bike may even just bypass this army and say, you know, if we go for a base race, I think I can kill your buildings a lot faster than you can kill my 3 separate bases. And the tanks are going to fight it out. Ronaldo hasn't given up yet. He's happy to commit in more units to this attack. He has basically no cash, and okay, there's going to be the GG. Finally calls it quits. And he did still have two war factories, but just no efficient mining. And that will do it for this series, for this game. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And this is Sybert signing out.